You know, the thing is, Matthew, what is it like living in a car in Los Angeles?
It's better than living in a hotel in Los Angeles.
Is it really, though?
For me,
what about the Beverly Hills
for me
Hotel?
it is.
Okay, Danny.
You know what?
Obviously, the Beverly Hills Hotel would be nice.
I used to live at Tower 1 at the Signature Towers at MGM Grand in Vegas.
Wow.
Okay.
And I was living there right about the time you started your channel back in 2017.
Wow. Okay.
That's where I was living, right above Wet Republic.
Wow.
It was such a pain in the...
Why?
Like, just to go and get some fried chicken, I'd have to sometimes wait 20 minutes for the elevator. Like, if EDC was in town, I'd have to wait an hour for the elevator.
Wow.
Because there's no separate elevator for residents. So
that sounds like a Vegas thing, though. That sounds like an MGM thing in particular. Because I live in a high-rise right now, and I don't have to ever wait more than 10 seconds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's how I thought it was going to be. Right?
Don't flex on our boy, okay? Don't flex on our boy.
Yeah, quick elevator.
Yeah, I'm really jealous of that 10-second wait. I'm telling you.
But no, so living in the car, the thing that would kill me is having to wake up when the sun comes up. You can't sleep in because it's too bright. Right. And then also the temperature. Also, tell me, I want to know everything. What sucks about it? Where do you sleep? What's your sleeping position? Tell me. Oh, man, this is really starting to get to me.
Yeah, dude, you just did a sixer, buddy. It's too much for
All
you.
Right. Well, I got to get up when the sun comes up anyway to go run with the pit bull.
Nice.
So that once I adopted him, my days of sleeping in were over. I mean, if I could, I would sleep till 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Like this is about the time of day when I'm ready to greet the world.
So he's a healthy pit bull. He absolutely fits in the MAGA movement, the Maha movement, Make America Healthy Again. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. could be running out. Imagine Robert F. Kennedy Jr. jogging shirtless next to your pit bull and trying to get Mexicans out of the country. Continue.
Chihuahuas out of the country.
Chihuahuas. How do you sleep? Do you sleep upright in a chair?
No,
in your car?
I sleep in the back seat.
Okay, the back seat.
I sleep in the back seat.
Fetal position?
Yeah, because that's how I sleep anyway. Like if I were to check in to the hotel, I'd be sleeping in the exact same position that I sleep in the back seat.
And you're undefeated against cramps. You never get like a little, you got to stretch the leg out.
I have there's
you roll down a window so you can put your legs out?
There's so many different positions to do the stretching.
Okay, like so you can do it.
It's a Lexus SUV, so there's a lot of stuff to like hang your legs on. And
what year? What year is that fucker?
2006.
Okay.
It's an old one.
Yeah, well, they're reliable cars.
They are. They're great.
That's a great, if you're going to live in your car, it better be a Japanese vehicle.
I agree with
that. I think so. Leather seats, too. Leather seats are a must if you're going to live in your car.
Okay. I wonder if, because right now Teslas have self-driving, when Japanese vehicles get self-driving, I wonder if they're all going to drive themselves off cliffs.
If it's AI, then it's going to be accurate to what maybe a Japanese person would do, and that would be a problem.
It cuts somebody off in traffic. It's like, oh, dishonor. And it just has to go find a wall to drive into, or
an eclipse happens, and I don't know, something. It just has a feeling that it's the time, and it's your time too.
Yeah,
your car decides.
I'm thinking it's more of a dishonor thing.
Okay.
Like,
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Like if it cuts somebody off, if it doesn't merge properly, if it like waits too long in a red light and people honk at it.
I
think one honk, and the Japanese vehicle will kill itself.
Oh, dude. It's not going to be able to be in LA or New York.
Yeah.
Dude, you're going to have to only use it like in for real like God-fearing cities in the South or something.
Or Tokyo, dude. Maybe. Tokyo. They don't have it. I hate them. But Matthew, so you... What time do you go to bed, Matthew?
About midnight.
Midnight. Yeah. And so you wake up at like 6:30, 7?
5.
5. Damn, dude.
Yeah, I was up at 3 this morning.
Damn, do you feel exhausted during the day?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I take naps.
Yeah.
What do you eat? What are you eating? You look so slim. Do you?
You do look healthy.
Yeah, you look
good.
You won't believe what I literally almost. The thing that makes me feel the best is those 2 for 99-cent tacos from Jack in the Box.
Wow.
What? Just seed oil city.
If I eat like organic fucking food, I feel like shit. I get heartburn. But if I go eat 6 of those Jack in the Box tacos, I'm doing fine.
You do look good. He looks like if we threw a suit on him and gave him a nice watch, I would believe that Matthew founded a tech company.
Yeah, on that note, you should be an actor out here in Los Angeles. You can get to every audition. I mean, you're definitely going to be near every audition because you can just drive there and live there.
So. Yeah, I'd keep your dog out of the building because that's
That would be.
I was thinking about living across the street for a while. I got a great spot under a tree.
As long as you're living there, you can come on the pod periodically 100%, dude. That'd be unbelievable.
Just take Leo's spot. Leo's got a red curb he parks on every single time here. He always parks in a fire lane. At some point, that complex you park in front of where you always block the fire lane, it's all Eastern European people, and they're all, speaking of the generational divide, in their 70s. One day there's going to be a fire, and like,
it's gonna be my fault.
100 Turkish people are going to be dead because of you.
Because of me.
Yeah.
I racked up like $3,000 in parking tickets in this town doing that.
Really?
I would just park anywhere. Back in the day, like, what was this, like early aughts, like around 2000, 2001. I had this 85 Toyota Celica GT. And I just didn't give a fuck, man, back then. I would just park anywhere. I'd park in the red zone. I'd park in the handicap zone.
Were you paying the tickets?
No. I was just throwing them on the ground as I
love that.
Oh, I got another ticket. Have fun with that.
Any consequences?
Wow.
Yeah, when I went to go get a license to be a taxi driver for United Independent Taxi, they were like, there's a little catch. You passed the test, you passed the drug test, you did your education, but you need to pay these $3,362 for parking tickets.
Did you?
Oh my God.
Yes, I did.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
they got you.
And then I quit a month later.
Oh.
Did you make the money back at least?
No, I sucked at being a taxi driver here.
Why?
I just wasn't motivated to go to LAX. That's really the only way you could make money. You could go to LAX on certain days of the month, and it was based on the number on the top of your fucking car.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want to go sit in a fucking line in LAX. So I would just like drive around neighborhoods I actually wanted to be in.
Yeah.
And there was no business.
Brentwood and Bel Air.
Nobody gives,
as a taxi driver, do you think you have to master like being in traffic? You have to like be zen in traffic as a taxi guy, huh?
You should, but I don't know if anybody really does. I don't know if that's really possible.
I see the Uber drivers. I talk to all of them. They probably hate me. My score is really high. I have a 4.97.
Damn.
But
my score is really low because whenever we go to the airport for a video shoot, he just treats my Uber rides. He'll start doing bits on the driver. Just be like, man, like, or I can't even, you'll say such out of pocket shit to my Uber drivers, dude.
I do.
Like sexual, racial slurs, just anything.
Racial
anything you think of.
Do that
Yes.
now.
If anything, yeah. You know what? I go a little hard. I do love. I don't know why, but I'm always giddy on the Uber drive to the airport. No matter what time it is, like I do want to mess around at that time. I don't know what it is.
We did an entire bit in one of my Ubers once where like our cameraman Nico, we kept warning the driver he always pulls his penis out. And Nico was in the front seat. Yeah. And then we started screaming at Nico randomly, like, he just pulled his penis out.
And the guy was like, oh, he's got a mental problem.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he does, yeah.
So I've got a 4.5 rating.
Yeah, it's a little lower.
Brutal.
But I talked to all of them, and there is the guy that rarely you meet one that only does like nighttime. They start like at 1 a.m. and they go to like 8 a.m. And those guys want to avoid traffic. That's why those guys do it. But most of them they say that you make your money in traffic. So you have to be, or you want to be in traffic, sort of.
True. I used to Uber drive in this town. It was rough.
Oh, wow.
Rough. Yeah.
So Matthew, what are you doing now for work?
I'm doing the deliveries,
nice
restaurant deliveries. I'm not saying their name.
Sure.
Paid,
of course. Yeah.
And then
it's probably a good gig, right? I mean, it's flexible or
it's flexible, and I love getting to take a look into everybody's yard, their home, their life. I mean, I'm sort of addicted to it. Like there's other shit that I could do that pays me more. I'm qualified to do much higher paying work than that, but I don't want to go sit in an office with a bunch of fucking bankers,
Yeah,
sure.
I can't do that anymore. I used to work in West Hills at a mortgage office, and these guys are fucking boring.
Yeah.
So
what I mean? It's just like I want to just shoot myself every morning on Monday.
Okay, I want to know the day.
Speaking of, just really quickly to comment on that, then I'm going to give it over to you. I do jiu-jitsu with a male nurse who's a black belt. He's a beast. And he says all the time he has people come in with heart problems on Monday.
Yeah.
Because that's a phenomenon. People are much more likely to have heart attacks on Monday because they hate their job.
That totally makes sense.
I think I checked into the emergency room thinking I was going to have a heart attack like 7 times during my my stint in the mortgage business.
Wow.
What is that? What is that? Because I do remember the only time I ever thought I've never dealt with anxiety. I don't really understand it that much.
I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily.
Wow, I'm so fucking jealous right now.
I feel like my father, when he was yelling at me while I was in the batting cages, you know what I mean?
Hey.
That kind of like just drew all the anxiety out of me. Because if I could do that, I could do anything.
But hit a big yellow ball going 45 miles per hour.
You're an asshole. It was going 80 miles an hour and it was dark sometimes. There wasn't good lighting at these batting cages. Okay.
The only thing
and he wanted perfection. He wanted perfection. He didn't care if I hit it. He wanted me to hit it hard in the air. All right.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm drunk, dude.
Yeah.
This is 8%.
Want another one? I can't wait to see what happens.
I'm gonna have another one.
I got
for sure.
one more.
So I wanted to know this. What was the day that you just said, fuck it, I'm going to live in my car? Like, what was that day? Do you remember?
It's been got to be in the last 8 years or so. Because when I was living at the Signature at MGM Grand.
How much was that?
I got a sweet deal. I got the 1-bedroom, 2-bath condo for $2,700 a month.
It's a lot still.
And for Vegas, but it was probably really nice.
It was like $10,000 if you want to just check in on the app.
Yeah.
For a month.
But still, I mean, how are you affording that? Because that's a high rent for like anybody, really.
I was getting family handout at that time.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, they would pay the rent directly to the guy, and then they would give me the rest of my money in gift cards because they were worried I was going to gamble it away. And I actually don't like to gamble, so it just shows you how little my family knows.
So what did they think? Did they think you were on drugs and a gambling addict? And
they couldn't understand why I wanted to live in Vegas in the first place. And really, the reason I wanted to live there is I just wanted easy access to the desert. I would drive my Land Cruiser out into the desert outside of Vegas every night almost and sleep out there. That's really when I started, I guess, sleeping in the car. I really started to get a taste for it. And I was like, you know what? I like being out here better than being back there. And then I'd come back at like 6 a.m. and they'd be like, hey, Mr. Matt, how did you do tonight? Because they thought I was out all night gambling, right? And I'd be like, no, I was sleeping out by Red Rocks Canyon. They're like, oh, yeah, right. They never believed me. None of the valets believed me that I was sleeping in my car out in the desert.
This is something a Guido like Leo can't understand because there is a siren call from the desert. When I lived in Vegas, I lived there for 1 year. I was working at casinos when I started my YouTube channel. On my weekends, loved to drive out into the California/Nevada desert. I would go to Prim and just work at a coffee shop in the middle of the desert. One time I went out to Barstow, 2 hours outside of Vegas, just to work at a coffee shop because it's really beautiful and calming. At sunset to put on a Rolling Stones album. Yeah. Sweet Virginia kicks in and you're just looking at the cactus.
Where do you get a
Holy
meatball
shit,
sub?
You know.
I know, bro. I know the pole of the fucking desert.
But where do you get a meatball sub when you need it?
Okay. I mean, I'm sure you could get upon your return to Vegas. I'm sure you can find a meatball sub, Leo.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that was what the daytime was for,
right?
But,
the daytime.
But also sleeping. The desert is not good for car camping, so I would not sleep out there.
Why not?
Because it's so fucking hot.
Why not?
Oh,
Danny?
Okay.
Because I mean, it's fucking hot and uncomfortable. Unless you want to like have your AC going all night.
No, you're right. I guess I moved before the summer hit, but I was out there in the winter a lot. February. I moved there in February 2017. So I think you were starting the channel right
I lived there.
Then.
I lived there in 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
I lived there. I got there in January 2017.
Okay.
I was putting my penis in anything I could find at Universal Studios at the time.
Okay.
Anyway, do you feel like you have figured it out in a way? Like, are you happy, or do you think like sometimes you want to maybe go back to being a house, like inside?
No, I wouldn't say I've figured it out. I'm just like doing the best I can. You know what I mean? I love to wake up outside of the city limits and see nobody.
Where do you sleep?
I wake up out in the mountains whenever I can.
What if you got a place out there?
The weird thing about getting a place out in the country and shit, you're surrounded by fucking weirdos.
That's true.
You really are.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that cool. And then they know where you are.
Do you think they say the same thing about you if you're in the neighborhood?
Absolutely. They're not happy to see me. And that's why I don't go get a place. I tried that. I lived in a little cabin out by Ebbets Pass, which is off Highway 4, way up in the mountains in the Sierra, right? It was so fucking weird. Everybody, I think they were in some fucking cult. Like everybody there was so weird. I remember the one guy I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was living there with me, and the guy that rented us the house, he took us on a tour of his house, right? And she walked up the stairs, and he literally stood at the base of the stairs and looked up her fucking dress right in front of me and then smiled. And I'm like, yeah,
good
what
move,
the fuck
honestly.
do we get ourselves into?
Was it a Leo with a wig on?
I see nothing wrong with that move. I don't understand what's...
Right, you're going to do that in front of me,
Isn't
though?
that customary?
Yeah, I think
You're going to do that in front of me, though?
No,
like,
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's messed up. That's
it is. And he was so weird. And he hit on her the whole time we were up there.
What the hell?
And then I heard there's like a cult up in Fraser Park. You know where that is?
Yeah,
like up at the Teon Pass? Yeah, supposedly everybody in that town's in some weird cult. So yeah, I'd love to live
know
up
a
in the
guy
mountains,
that lives there. Wow.
But it's just, I think I'd be signing a death sentence by moving into a house in the mountains with my dog and with my worldview and the way that I like to move through the world. It's not, it doesn't mesh with country folk.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
But maybe there's one little town somewhere that could be perfect.
I haven't found it.